In this video, we find out how fast the turbo V6 Accord really is. I'm talking 0 to 60 times, 60 to 100 times, maybe some quarter-mile times. We'll do some rips on some back roads like this one, and then afterwards, we'll talk about how much it cost to build this beautiful car. First things first, let's do some rips. Now, before we actually do any driving, let's talk about a few things. 2004 Honda Accord, it's got a custom turbo kit with a Pulsar turbo. Stock, this thing made 220, 230 wheel horsepower. With the turbo and 7 pounds of boost, we ended up making 380 wheel horsepower. We also did lots of mods to increase traction, increase shifting, increase, getting the power to the ground with motor mounts, all that kind of stuff. So engine-wise, it should be pretty good. Now, the one thing about these cars is that they are kind of heavy. How heavy? So we got the car on lift, and we got all the scales set up on each corner. And turn this guy on. It's nice and zeroed out, so we can lower the lift. Crunch. Now this floor is not very level, so front rear weight distribution, all that's not gonna be super accurate, but we get a general idea. And the total weight. Oh, wow. Total weight, 3,200 pounds. That's less than I was expecting. But man, that's with a turbo, that's with big subwoofers, that's with a luxurious interior, increased sound editing, all sorts of stuff. Big exhaust. Lots of voice cracks. That's actually not bad, really. I mean, that's a pretty light car, and it's definitely better than I thought. I thought it was gonna be closer to the 3,500 pound range. So that gives us, a pretty decent power to weight ratio. Not as light as like a Civic would be, but not as heavy as like a Mustang would be. So, there's some pros and cons there. Now let's do some 0 to 60 times. I think our biggest limiting factor is gonna be traction, because it is a front wheel drive car. It does have stiff suspension. It does have grippy tires, but it's got an open differential. So, one wheel peel. Let's find out though. Do our first little test here, shall we? Oh man, I don't know if this road has no traction or these tires just have to get warmed up a little bit, but that was almost as bad as when this thing was in A.
30. 60.
Oh God. 6.4 seconds. There's nothing. Take two. $5.9, a little better. It still is just Spin City. And I can tell that it has less traction and the road's just bad because normally a wheel hop's really bad in second because it's fighting for grip. It's not doing that right now. .5, I mean, we are a solid second faster than their first one. Okay, 4th time's a charm. Man, turns out front wheel drive street cars with 400 wheel horsepower don't launch very good, even with 200 treadwear tires. Who would have thought? There's also some curvy roads out here too. Gonna try a quarter mile. $13.8 on the street with all that spinning, I'll take it. More specifically, that was a 13.8 at 105 miles an hour. And I mean, look at that 60-foot time, 2.45 seconds. That is atrocious. Like, oh my God. So this car's putting some steam down to get a 13-second quarter mile. And if you rewatch that run, I actually let off a little bit before the quarter mile. You can see the drop off in acceleration right at the end. I think I could definitely get a better run than this, but even though that was a very straight, very smooth road in the middle of nowhere, when you're doing 100 miles an hour, it is still quite bumpy and sketchy. And we're no more of that. But I did want to try one more time to get a better 0 to 60 time. So I came back on a nice warm day when the road was hot, and I lowered the front tire pressure quite a bit, and we're gonna try it. Okay, so first I'm gonna do like a little essentially burnout. Okay, I'm gonna stop here, okay. Oh God. Oh no. That was atrocious. Oh, and I lost this. And I missed the shift. Oh man, things are not going well. How does it feel like it's getting less traction? I think I'm launching it too aggressively. That's hard though. Not easy. Okay, I'm gonna try it one last time. Better conditions, lower tire pressure, hotter tires, maybe not as good of a launch. I thought it was actually pretty good though, but yeah, still 5.5 seconds. It needs other modifications to go any faster. 0 to 60. I mean, this is not the end all be all, it's just an easy thing to test on the street. It's just that high horsepower front wheel drive cars are terrible at 0 to 60s, so that is what it is. So there we are. We now know how fast this thing is in a straight line at least. We don't have any track times. We do have some curvy road experience, but at least we know how fast it is in a straight line. But it's hard to put that into context. On the surface of things, this is a $4,000 Honda. That's really fast for a $4,000 Honda. But is it really a $4,000 Honda? How much money do I have in this thing? Let's find out. Now I'm in the unique position of having sponsors, which I am incredibly grateful for, and builds like these wouldn't happen without them because of what we're about to talk about, because of cost. I get lots of parts at discounts, some parts for free, then other parts, honestly the vast majority of parts, I do still have to pay for, but it makes the cost of these builds for me cheaper. Now instead of telling you the price it cost me to build this thing, because that doesn't really matter for you guys, I'm going to give you the MSRP price to build this thing. And we're gonna do this video by video. So if you've seen all the videos, if you remember all the videos, I'll tell you the cost of each part from each video. I'll also tell you what brand it is and where I got it. So if you want any of these parts, you'll know where to find them. Before I made any video, I purchased the car. I got this car for $4,500. It was a one owner, 6-speed manual, V6, black on black, Accord Coupe. Didn't really have any issues besides it just being a little old. It wasn't the perfect car, but it was a really good starter. And for $4,500, I was very happy with that find. In the announcement video, we pretty much just cleaned it up. Got new headlights, $67. Fog lights, $44. Red Honda badges, $43. And then I put new hood struts, which were 20 bucks, and I did put a new O2 sensor in it, which was 130 bucks. The next video we made with the car was the naturally aspirated exhaust. We made a header back exhaust for when the car was NA. All those parts were from Mishimoto. The tubing cost $530, and then I got 3 resonators, which cost about $300. Now, if you're going straight for this final result, you don't have to do that, because as soon as I put the turbo on there, I threw away that exhaust. Actually, that's not true. It's standing right behind you. And if you want to buy it, I'll sell it to you. Just email me here. But if you don't want to do that and you just want to go straight for a turbo Accord, you don't have to do that. There's going to be a couple of things along the way that I bought and then had to rebuy because I either bought a dumb product or because I just ended up upgrading it again. Now, after we made the exhaust video, we made the video redoing the interior. One of my favorite things that we have done to this car, we put Corbeau LG1 suede seats in there, which cost $1,100. The Corbeau seat brackets for each seat were 140 bucks each, so $280. I got a lot of matching suede material, ended up being too much, but we used that for the headliner and a few other things. That was $480. In that interior video, we also did the sound system. The most expensive part of that was actually the pack conversion kit that, you know, converted the integrated radio climate control of factory into an aftermarket one that used a double DIN system. I wanted to spend the extra money on that because it had the best reviews. All the other ones did not have good reviews. There are like, you know, $100 options on Amazon. I don't know how good they are. Even this one's got some issues, but it does work pretty nice. That was 400 bucks. To go with it, I got an A-Toto S8. That was about $200. I bought some used 12-inch subwoofers. Came with the amplifier, 200 bucks off Facebook Marketplace. I got new rear speakers, 75 bucks. I redid the steering wheel with a suede steering wheel cover and of course, red hot Honda badges. That was $80. And then there's lots of miscellaneous things, wiring harnesses. That was all about 70 bucks. Honestly, I think that was the best money spent out of the entire car. Because at the end of the day, that's what you're spending the most time with, is the interior. But after that interior video, we did the suspension video. The suspension, wheels, that kind of stuff. The main expense there was, of course, the BC Racing DS series coilovers. That's the slightly higher end coilover. Those were $1,200. Custom valved, custom spring, everything, only 1,200 bucks. Really good deal, in my opinion, but still 1,200 bucks. Now, in this video, I also replaced all of the bushings and stuff with new stock bushings. That was one of my mistakes. I should have just jumped right to the upgraded stuff, but that was $150. Now we did do True Heart upper control arms for the front that allowed me to adjust camber. Those were $280. We then put on these coated kilograms, which is about $1,000. Man, I'm throwing out too many of these thousands. We put all-season tires on it, which were about $380. And then I replaced all of the axles because it had a vibration under acceleration, and it was due to a worn-out bearing in one of the axles. Actually, the half shaft. One axle was 140 bucks, the other was 120 bucks, and then the half shaft was $110. Now after that suspension video, we put the Acura big brakes on and we tested those. The calipers, which are off a 2008 Acura RL, I bought for 180 bucks used off eBay. We paired those calipers with 350Z rotors and Acura RL brake pads. That all was 280 bucks. Now I did choose the wrong ones and I ended up ruining that entire thing, as you guys saw in the last video. So I had to spend that money again. Get the 350Z Nismo rotors, not the Nissan Maxima rotors. And then to make the Acura calipers work on this car, I had to buy the fast brakes adapter, which was $200. Overall, the big brake kit, is it that worth it? No, because I don't track this thing really. But I think a major thing is that it makes the car look so much better. The factory brake calipers look like single piston ugly brake calipers. These things look really nice, especially with these wheels. I did also get stainless steel brake lines. I didn't write that down. So add like 100, 200 bucks for that. Now after the big brake video is kind of when we dove into getting this car ready for the turbo. The first thing was supporting mods for the drivetrain. So we put a Clutch Masters FX 250 clutch. It's a great clutch, really, really light, holds the power though. However, it does cost $1,200. Not cheap. Worth it, but not cheap. In addition to that, we did a hybrid racing short shifter, best short shifter on the market. We did hybrid racing shifter cables, also really awesome. We did innovative motor mounts. Those are an absolute must when you're making more power of these things. Any front wheel drive car, really any car in general, if you're making more power of it, get upgraded motor mounts. The next video we did supporting mods for the engine. Now I bought one big order from P2R, which was $2,500. That included a lot of things. It included things like the timing belt kit, which was 650 bucks. It included stuff like the upgraded fuel system, injectors and the fuel rails, 600 bucks for the injectors, 430 bucks for the fuel rails, and then it also included a lot of dress up stuff and some fabrication stuff, the manifold starters that they produce. In that video, I did also show you guys the turbo, which is a a Pulsar 5455G dual ball bearing turbo. That is a very small turbo for this engine, but that's why I chose it. It's because it's very responsive, flows enough air to keep boost all the way to redline, pretty much. Now I did do no wastegate on the turbo, and then I went with an external 50mm wastegate from Pulsar. That was $280. After that is when the fabrication for the turbo kit starts. Now this is when things get a little tricky. I'm going to count just the price of the materials. If you know how to fabricate, perfect. If you don't, you'd have to pay a fabricator to make something. I don't believe there's a single company out there that offers a bolt-on turbo kit for these cars. So you're gonna have to either make it yourself or find someone to make it for you. Now, all the materials cost $3,800. Seems like a lot, but it's really not too bad. Find me a turbo kit you can buy for another car, good quality turbo kit, that costs less than like $3,000, you know? And that included all the stainless steel piping, the mufflers, the flex pipes, flanges, the V-bands, all of the aluminum tubing, the intercooler even, all the clamps, all of the O2 sensor bungs, exhaust hanger rods, literally every single thing we used to make this turbo kit is from Vibrant, and it was all included in that $3,800. I'm curious what a fabricator would charge to build this. I would say it probably took me about 75 hours to build the entire turbo kit, from literally having the engine running and driving NA to it running and driving turbo. I think a lot of fabricators would charge somewhere between $75 and $150 an hour. So let's say $100 an hour. That's $7,500 just to pay a guy to build this. That's why I learned to fabricate, guys, because I wanted to build cars like this and I could not afford to pay other people to do it. I'm not a good enough fabricator where I would be confident selling this kit to somebody, but building it for myself is perfect, because then I can fix it if it ever breaks. Anyway, after the turbo kit was built, we had to tune the car. Now I got lucky because Rolling Road wanted to fly out here and wanted to tune the car just to show the world that it was possible. But if you're paying for a dyno tune, it's probably gonna be somewhere between $500 and $1,000. So let's just say $750. Now during the dyno video, we did break one of the O2 sensors, so that's another $130. I had to buy another O2 sensor. And then after the dyno video, the last video we did with this car, we did a little bit of more upgrades to handle the extra power. Better control arms that I should have done from the get-go. $280. Rear sway bar, $200. Adjustable rear control arms, $160. These Armstrong Blue Track race tires, 200 tread wear, $480. And then another Vibrant resonator to try to fix the exhaust. That was $150. And so there we are. We're all caught up. Now I did not look at this number until just a minute ago. It is a pretty scary high number. You gotta take it all with some context, okay? So the number is just shy of $25,000. It's $24,868. If you were to do it the same way I did it, it would be $23,456 if you were to not make the mistakes and not have to repurchase some things and do different parts. But let's say, you know, $25,000. That is a lot of money. But when you compare it to other cars that cost $25,000, it starts to look pretty decent. And we gotta keep in mind the quarter mile test was not really conclusive because I let off early. I think this thing could easily run a 13 on the street and maybe a high 12 at the track. A low 13-second quarter mile time is faster than like a GR86 or, you know, a Subaru BRZ, and it costs $10,000 less than one of those. It's faster than a GR Corolla, and it costs like $15,000 less than that. I think this thing would be very competitive with like stock Mustang GT, Toyota Supra, Nissan 300Z. All of those cars are mid to low 400 horsepower range. I think the new Mustang's like 12.5, Supra's like 12.4, and the 300Z is like a 12.6 or something. They're all in the mid 12s. And so I really want to try to find one of those to race. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a Supra or a Mustang to race, but I did get a chance to race my friend's cammed G8. A stock G8 runs a quarter mile in about 13.8 seconds, so a cammed G8 should be a little faster, should be a close race. Oh, hell yeah. Let's go. I can't hear my car over him, though. I pull a little bit in third gear. Hell yeah. Very fun, very close. Is that a good starting speed for you? You want to go a little slower or a little faster?
Go slower if that would be better.
Okay, you want to? Yeah, do you want to do like one from 30? Yeah, man, I'm like so slow until boost hits, obviously. But Supra, according to my quick Googles, a Supra costs like 55 grand, new, obviously. Mustangs are like 50 grand, and Nissans are like mid 40s. So that's like between $20,000 and $30,000 less. I'll never say that you can make money by modifying cars and then reselling them, because that's not how this works. But you can get a car way faster for way cheaper than you can from buying one from a dealer. But that's always been known. I mean, that's a common thing. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. I had a lot of fun making this video. Now, there is one more Accord video planned. It's a makeover. That's the only thing this thing is missing. You know, it's got some chipped paint. It's got some cracked bumpers. And so in the next Accord video, that is what we're gonna do. However, we have a EP3 Civic to work on and a drift truck to finish. So I think one of those is gonna happen next. If you do wanna watch the next video ahead of schedule, you can click down there or up in the cards and become a patron. It helps support the channel massively, and you get early access to content and access to exclusive content. Other than that, you can check out the sponsors that supported this build and the other builds. Vibrant, Tire Streets, Koenig, Mishimoto, Hybrid Racing, the list goes on. All of those companies make this possible. So thank you to them. And thank you again to you guys for watching. See you guys in the next time.